Good morning, everybody. My name is Suzanne McAllister, and I am with the Vegan Spirituality Group of Philadelphia with the PAW Project or Post Animal Use World Project, and with Conversations with a Friendly Vegan. And today is December 4th, 2024, and I am really glad to be in conversation with author Janet Mason. And I'm just meeting Janet for the first time. We've been communicating via email for quite a while, but this is my first chance to meet face to face, if virtual. And I heard about Janet through a good friend of mine who is a member of Vegan Spirituality Group in Philadelphia, Zipporah Schultz. And it turns out Janet and I were actually at a Thanksgiving celebration together in 2018, but we didn't know each other and we didn't meet each other that night. Anyway, we are going to talk about Janet's recent book called Cinnamon, and the subtitle is A Dairy Cow's and Her Farmer's Path to Freedom. So you can imagine this is a very happy book for me.
Yeah,
Anyway, so Janet, thank you for making time today. And
sure.
if you are willing, I'd like to hear a little bit about your journey towards to veganism, and then we'll talk about the book.
Okay. I first want I've been thinking about, I told you in the email, but I have been thinking about being vegan for a number of years, a few years at least, out of compassion for the animals. And I hope I would have gotten there anyway, but it took an illness, a medical emergency for me to go vegan, and this happened when I was 60. It was 5 years ago, and I guess I have the connection to thank, because if it wasn't that, it would have been something else. Yeah. So, what happened was I had a medical emergency, and that's supposed to be a simple procedure, but then I got an infection, which isn't that unusual. And it kind of led to sepsis and killed me. But so I'm back to the hospital. I got treated, and that fall, like a few months, I started to get better a little bit. But I also started to I went back and emailed my old acupuncturist and told her my concerns, Elise Rivers,
Mhm.
and she was so helpful. And I went vegan. It took a few months till I
Mhm.
got like the last things on my diet, like eggs. And
Mhm.
I remember like watching TED Talks. I mean, the health risks of eggs were always new to me, but the ethical issues were really interesting. And I remember forcing myself to watch how the baby male chicks were treated. So it was really the ethical issues that helped me become vegan and then made me stay vegan.
Yes.
Because I was at the cow sanctuary and I was talking to the cow sanctuary where the cows we rescued, my partner and I rescued, that inspired Cinnamon, my novel, lived. And I said to the owner, Helga, I said, there's all these shows on veganism, people who went vegan for health reasons about temptations to go back. And I said, you wouldn't feel them if you think about the ethics
Mhm.
of being a vegan. Of what I didn't want to say what happens to the cows because they were there right there. But if you think about that, why would you ever go back? And
I
for
think,
me,
yeah,
yeah,
I think you're absolutely right. I'm going into my 20th year of being vegan, and it was reading something that about factory farming, which I did not pick up the book to learn about factory farming. It was in the book. I didn't know it was going to be in the book, but I read it, and there was no turning back for me. And yet, what you say, I believe, is true. I've met over the years people who became vegan for health reasons, and the pull is just not as compelling. I think some do, and many of them
Yeah.
learn about the ethics of how animals are mistreated, or I should say the lack of ethics about how animals are treated.
Yeah.
And I don't think I know one ethical vegan who has reversed course. So I think what you said is absolutely accurate. I want to just
Yeah.
ask a question because I think it's kind of interesting. You said you had this medical emergency which got you started, but you said I think I would have gone vegan in any case.
I hope I would have.
You hope. Okay. I wasn't sure if there
Yeah.
was something that you thought was kind of in you.
Oh, it wasn't me. I
Okay.
was thinking about it. My partner and I were both thinking about it because we went to a local high school, agricultural high school, where the cows were. And that was my inspiration for writing Cinnamon. But we knew how the cows were treated. And as we were learning more, we were meeting some vegan people, not many, but we had a feeling for the cows in particular, and also for all the other animals,
Yeah.
and also for the fish.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, they're
So
sentient beings also. And also before I became vegan, I ate what people think of as a healthy Western diet. Now I know there is no such thing. But
yeah.
I didn't eat lots of red meat. I hardly eat red meat.
Hmm.
I ate
But
mostly chicken and then fish until I learned about mercury, and then I eat less fish.
well,
But
and we find out that there's as much cholesterol in chicken as there is in red
oh
meat,
yeah,
which they don't, the chicken growers don't want us to know that, but that is the
yeah.
case. But anyway, so you alluded to meeting some cows at a high school, and I know there's a high school in Philadelphia
Hmm.
where they, I guess they raise cows. They are not vegan, and it has nothing to do with being
Yeah,
ethical.
it's a dairy operation,
Yeah.
and that's how we met some cows. And the group that my partner was in was saving the cows, and
Mm.
that's how I think it's four so far.
That you've saved.
Yeah, and
Wow.
actually, the fact of saving the cows led to some awareness at the high school. And the woman who runs the program got attached to one of the cows and has contacted the rescue to take the cow. So it's about raising awareness also.
Absolutely, which I
Yeah.
think your book does a beautiful job. So tell me about how you came to write this. I know you have written some other books.
Oh yeah.
What prompted you to write Cinnamon?
So I wrote other books before that. I think I had about four or five out. And that was a very special book because it represented a turning point in my life where because I almost died, because of my bad diet, I became like a radical vegan. I'm a lay minister. I do a Unitarian church, and it really won't shut. I always manage to work it in there somehow.
Yeah, are you involved with, I think the Unitarian Universalists, right?
Hmm.
And they have an animal ministry.
They do. Uh,
Yes.
it's a little frustrating to me because there is a toxic food culture, or what I would say, toxic. Having dealt with food addictions, I lost a lot of weight being vegan. It wasn't my primary reason. I never got caught up in trying to lose the weight. But the more weight I lost, the better I felt.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I'm big by nature. I'm big boned. So I'm still like a 1X or a large would be a small for me. And I'm tall. I'm like 6 feet 2.
Wow. Okay.
So I looked at food addictions in my family history after my father died. And that was a big part of becoming vegan. So I was very happy this book was published. And 5 years ago, when I was becoming vegan, totally vegan for the first time, I went through a consciousness raising about the animals and was writing cinnamon at the same time that I was doing acupuncture. And I think that really helped, you know, to have a little needle in my brain, in the top of my head to stimulating my brain. I think that helped a lot.
Can I tell you some of the things that really struck me about
Oh,
the
I
book?
love to hear some of the
Okay.
things. Yeah.
So one of the things I really loved, which to me was like a twist, is that the cow names her owner. We never hear that, right?
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
role reversal. So
Mhm.
Cinnamon names your protagonist's name is Jody, correct?
Mhm.
But she calls her Sunflower.
Right.
And that's how she refers to her, how Cinnamon refers to the other cow. So I just love
Right.
that Cinnamon turns the tables. And she also starts doing things, spying on her, like spying in the kitchen window to see what, what Jody and her partner are eating. And it's
Mhm.
either a good day or a bad day in terms of is there bacon being served? And there had been a pig on the farm that Jody had to sell. But I just love that. And I don't know how you came up with that idea to kind of switch things around and have your cow name her owner.
I don't think about things really logically when I write. I tend to let the muse bubble descend on me. And then I just start writing and don't think about it. But actually, that wasn't interesting. Like people observe cows or people observe animals and they think are different than them. But this was the cow observing the person.
Exactly. It was fabulous. The other thing I really appreciated, and there is some writing about this, in the press and so on, but the relationship among the animals, like who liked who didn't like who. Um, Cinnamon's friend, I can't remember her name. What was her
Spice, spice.
Spice? Yeah. Um, Cinnamon worried about whether Spice was going to get jealous when she became friendly with another cow when
Yeah, yeah.
Spice was sick.
Hmm.
And then that relationship, that Sunflower sees between Cinnamon and Spice, and she decides, I'm going to spend whatever I have to spend to save Spice's life. And then she sees how depressed Cinnamon is when Spice is sick, and then she sees how they both recover once Spice
Hmm.
gets back. So I just thought
Yeah.
that was also really lovely. I mean, you're you're giving you're giving the animals kind of center stage, and yet
Mhm.
Jody and Jody slash Sunflower really is the protagonist in many ways. The other thing I really appreciated, and it sounds like it's not quite your journey because yours was fairly quick, but I really liked how it wasn't just a slam dunk that Sunflower decided to become vegan. That was a process, and you really do a nice job. I'm a psychologist.
Mhm.
You do a really nice job of kind of the debate that goes on in her mind and
Mhm.
the culture she grew up in. She's like third or fourth generation dairy farmer. And so it's almost like betraying her roots. All of that is very real in psychological terms.
Yeah.
If you branch out and you are now deciding, no, I don't like this business that I grew up in and that my parents, who I loved, did and worked hard at. So I thought that was also really nicely done. The path that she goes through that has its ups and downs.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it was based on my experience of going to visit the cows. My
Uh,
partner and I would go like every week or so. And a lot of that, including in the scene where she has a leather purse, I don't really use a purse. It may have been a waist pack or something, but that actually happened. I had some piece of leather on me, and the cow I had been petting smelled the leather, and looked at me like, "What? What are you doing?" So actually, a lot of the details were from going to the farm every week. They're in
um,
my head.
that's lovely. And I want to give or have you give a plug for, I think it's Helga's place. Is that what it's called?
It's called the Cow Sanctuary.
Okay. Was it
She's like not taking any more animals now because she's in her 70s. But but it's online, the Cow Sanctuary.
okay?
And
So
she
if
has
people
two
are, yeah, are
cows.
interested in
Yeah,
maybe making a donation, you'll send me the link and I'll make sure that's
sure.
in the show notes. And I also want to give a plug. I really loved reading this book.
Well,
It,
thanks.
it, yeah, I really loved it. I like to buy my books on at my independent bookstore. I could not get it through the independent
Oh,
bookstore. So,
yeah.
um, besides Amazon, are you aware of any place where?
I'm not, unfortunately.
Okay, well, you know what?
I
I'd
know it
still
can
like
be
people to buy
ordered.
it. I'm
I
sorry.
know it can be ordered at the local bookstore library.
Okay, okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's good to know. So before we end, is there anything else you'd like to tell me about maybe what you're working on now or what you want people to know about your journey and having written this book?
Yeah, what I'm working on now corresponds to my journey in being a vegan and also to the book in many ways. I'm writing a memoir. I'm revising a memoir at the end about the changes I went through it in the 5 years after my father's death. And it was 2 years almost to the day when I got sick and had to go to the hospital. So I think stress factored into it also. But I
Hmm,
have heard other people going to vegan after their paradise, especially their father.
hmm,
I don't know why. But that really factors in a lot to what I'm writing now, to the way I'm thinking about the world.
hmm. Well, I look forward to it. Does it have a title yet?
And right now it's called Lost.
Raynell's
It's called Lost.
Lost. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I will look forward to that. And again, I really thank you for, first of all, writing the book, for what you're doing for the animals. I'm going to be posting the picture of Sacred, who Cinnamon is based on.
Yeah,
Um, and also there's a lovely YouTube of your partner singing
yeah.
with Sacred, which I will also post. But
Okay.
thank you so much. It's
And thank
really,
you. Thank you. So it's so nice to hear good things about my work.
oh,
And your show is so important. So
oh,
thank you also for the work that you do.
I feel blessed to be able to do what
Mhm.
I'm doing. I really do. I mean, I wake up in the morning and I'm excited about what can I do to help animals and to help the earth. I mean, we
Yeah.
also know the connection and help
Mhm.
humans. We feel better when we're
Yeah.
not harming others, whether
It's
it's
amazing
people.
that it's all connected.
You got it. It is,
Yeah,
that's a great place to end. It's all connected.
it really is.
Thank you.
Thank you.